Welcome back to our weekly podcast. We are going over Online Survival Season 2, Episode 9, I believe. We will go ahead and do our ups and downs. How is everybody?
Whew.
Go ahead and start with, well, Mike, you weren't here last week, so did you have any thoughts on the Patty exit episode?
Just like that was when Dot played his switch of vote, right? Yeah, it's like, why didn't you use it a week earlier if you were so invested in saving Meg? I know, I think he was convinced he had the votes, but yeah, very exciting. It was a shame to see Patty go. I mean, he was great TV.
I would agree. Any ups and downs for this past episode, Mike?
Oh man, I mean, I'm gonna have to give my up to. I'll give it to Elizabeth for the reason that now she now knows that someone's out for her because of the vote, and she also cemented the thing with Q. Like that was kind of always an uneasy partnership, but this week they really like were in this for now, and I think she just did a lot this week. I mean, she just had a very successful week. And I'll probably have to give my down to like, man, Dot, I guess. He just kind of had a rough week, man. Like he's still eminently great at the social game and being likable, but I think he needed that immunity or he would have been in real deep shit. So never a good feeling.
Dazed.
My up is for Alex. I think he just completely outplayed every single other player in this game, in this episode. He made a plan. He, took them all to town. I mean, dude's playing a great game. Down is for Dot also. How he played that challenge, he was reckless with it. And just overall bad week for him. I don't know what the hell he was doing.
It's been.
Well, I'm gonna start with my down because it is also Dot. Yeah. This might be the second week in a row now, I think, for me. Yeah, so terrible. Like everybody else said, terrible. What are you doing? What are you doing? We'll get into it, but yeah, Dot had a terrible week. His reign is coming to an end. They cut his little legs out from under him. And yeah, so Dot's next. And for my up, I think it's a tie between Q and Alex because I agree with what Dave said with the whole Alex, like the Wonder Kid came to play, but Q somehow evaded elimination again, which I honestly thought for sure like she didn't win. I thought the Queen Q was gonna be cut down, and no, she lives to be messy another day. So I like what she did. I even like that she tried to get Dee Dee to give her the idol. I think that was a smooth play, even though it didn't work. I respected it. So yeah, looking good.
Last week I defended Dot a little, or tried to. This week I don't think I can, though. Sorry, Dot. We'll start with the fallout from Patty being eliminated and Dot using his advantage. I guess we'll start with you, Mike. Why do you think Dot used it last week?
Well, I do think at the Meg vote off that he thought he had everyone wrapped around his finger, and I think that was like his wake-up call. And I think that he kind of decided he was in for a penny, in for a pound, and now he needs to save Jake and Hassan and use them and his old team done and just steamroll to the end. And he's like, I'll do this. I'll use my advantage for you guys. And it's kind of like he's throwing in his lot with like the Titanic when it's already at like this big angle going down into the water. Like he just has thrown his lot in with a group of people and doesn't seem willing to jump ship. He didn't jump ship last week. He didn't jump ship this week. He is trying the same thing, and he's not adapting to what appears to be the losing side, and definitely now is way down in numbers. So things are not working out well for him.
He's the violin player on Titanic.
Well, Aspen, you touched upon it a little bit. Q this week decided she needed to paint more targets to use the chaos she likes to pull. Do you think she did a good enough job with that this week?
Absolutely. She painted Dot as this little slimy grease ball, as Patty would say he is, yeah, I think it woke a lot of people up. I think honestly the talk Q had with Elizabeth was like it opened Elizabeth's eyes, because I think she was kind of falling for that Dot shit for a minute. And so I'm glad that Q put her up on game and Elizabeth took it well. I like that they starting to like solidify a little alliance. I kind of like that dynamic a little bit. But I think Q did exactly what she was supposed to do. Even with Alex.
Days, we talked a little bit about with the DD interview with the possible playing the idol for Q. Any other thoughts on that?
No, I was just generally wondering like if it was actually a consideration of DD to play the idol for her, but she told us that it wasn't really there. I mean, I think it was smart for Q trying to get her to play that just in case, but Q pulled some moves and got Alex and Elizabeth to vote with them. So, yeah, it worked out the way it should have, I think.
We talked about it a little, Mike, and you kind of made a face about if one should play an idol for somebody else in the game. Where do you stand with that?
I think that making a big move. I think in this game, idols go away at the final 4, right?
This season it's 5 because it's a final.
This season
3,
is 5.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I think it is a very like having not that many opportunities if people are suspecting that there's an idol in your alliance, and then if you know most of the votes are here, and you can save a person. Because like at the final 5, if you wait till the deadline of the idol, people are going to see it coming a lot more. If you can try and get it out and keep a person around that you know you can trust 100%, or I mean as much as you can, Survivor, that can be much more valuable than a get out jail free card, because now it throws everything into whack. Every week can basically become its own new game, and it's a big move, and sometimes you need big moves to get people on your side in the jury.
I agree. I also personally, if you can use the idol to save somebody else and it also advances your game, I feel like that's a bigger move than just playing for yourself. Personally, Aspen.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. As long as you don't gosh, what's the guy's name who played the idol for the girl, like gave his necklace up and then got voted?
Oh, well, that's a whole different story.
Like as long as you don't put no shit like that. But like, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I wish it would have worked, like I feel like Q made a good point. I feel like all those things were very valid that she was telling DD, like, absolutely, you don't got nothing on your resume. You need to make a move. You need to, get something under your belt. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I probably wouldn't have done it. I just don't feel safe enough, like I feel like I just hadn't been in a position to do that, like maybe Rochelle I would have played an idol for if I would have had one.
Well, a lot of us, this talk's going to be about this challenge. I want to go through some of these superlatives and who got what, some of them anyway. We'll go ahead and start with the bitter juror was actually Jake. Does anybody agree with that one? That was kind of a random one.
No, after seeing Cam DeRosa, it's gonna be Rayleigh. Rayleigh will be the most bitter juror.
Yeah,
I think they had to pick from players still in the game.
Oh,
yeah,
they
that's
did?
true.
Probably Q. I would have said Q.
I think
Uh,
she's
go ahead.
strategic enough that like I don't see her being too bitter at, you know what I mean? I feel like it doesn't seem to be super emotional, at least from what we've seen. I don't know how much the players can really garner that from the group chats when she's calling people out. They might attribute that to bitterness, which is why we saw a lot of people hold up Q, but like, you know, she was not happy about that, and I don't blame her.
Oh, no.
if choosing from the people that are still there, I think I'll say Dot might be the most bitter juror if he's not in the finale.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I often wonder why Jake was called Bittiger. I think it's because he always was talking shit about Elizabeth for the one time she lied to his face and then never voted for her ever, but we'll get to that later. Most loyal was Dee Dee, probably pretty accurate.
Oh yeah,
Any
absolutely.
thoughts?
Mhm.
Yeah, she is loyal to Q. She was loyal to Patty, so she ride for who she ride with, for sure.
Most likely to stab you in the back was Alex. Alex admitted to do it as well. I don't know if that's a great stigma to have, Mike, is it?
I mean, as long as people aren't expecting you to be honest, they're not going to feel betrayed when you do betray them. You know, it can work. You know, if you tell people, yeah, I could go either way all the time, then they should never take you at your word, which can be a positive and a negative.
And yet Dot still took him at his word.
I think it shows how clear Alex sees the rest of the players and the game in general. Like he knows what's going on in the game.
Oh yeah.
Most under the radar, more so than Hassan and Dee Dee, Aspen, was Elizabeth. Thoughts?
What? How? How? That's fucking bullshit. No, it's Hassan. Number one, Hassan. Like, we'll get to that later. But yeah, Hassan is definitely way more low key. Obviously, Dee Dee will come in second, and then I could see Elizabeth possibly being in third.
Strategic wise, absolutely Elizabeth is under the radar because she knows what the hell is going on. She just doesn't have the competition wins to put herself in a position of power.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, we're seeing confessionals where Hassan is generally quiet and doesn't have a lot to say, and Elizabeth is very tuned in, very calculated. But like, they're seeing these group chats where like what they're seeing is Elizabeth talking to a few people in small groups, which she often listens more than she talks strategically. It seems like she takes things in, thinks for a second, and gives her thought. And then in challenges, she's usually one of the first people who is out for a variety of reasons. So it kind of comes down to like, I can see why they'd see her as under the radar in the game, even though the edit isn't really showing that.
I think you can make a point that Alex is under the radar also, because I really feel like he's running the game and he's not necessarily the biggest target in the game right now. He's making moves that aren't being seen.
Yeah, I agree.
Or recognized at least.
Yeah, but he on Dot radar.
Dot doesn't know what he's doing.
Likely to win was Hassan, Aspen. Are they worried that if there's so many cleaners and Dot on the jury, Hassan's going to win this game?
What? Even if he made it to the end, he would not get one single vote. What exactly?
I disagree.
Who do you think would vote for him? Who could
Riley.
he even sit next to that would even be a possibility? Who could he sit next to? Dee Dee?
I'm assuming that the reason they think he would win is because the rest of the cleaners would be on the jury.
Yeah.
And
if he gets the cleaners plus Dot, that's 4 votes. That's pretty much winning the game. You know, it's definitely possible.
That's not who I would have voted for, though.
Right.
One, I would have said Alex or Q, and then I would have answered the question with whoever I wanted to put a target on.
Yep. That's a smart play. That's a smart play. I second that. Yeah.
Will this actually put a target on Hassan since he got the majority?
No.
I don't think it'll add a target. I think because people are already seeing it, the target's already there. I don't think the answer in the game is going to change it. I think most people are apparently planning on cutting Hassan before the end because they're afraid of the cleaner jury.
Mike, Elizabeth also got most likely to make the end and get no votes. What does she need to do to turn her public persona around?
I mean, she's clearly very capable of articulating herself well. The thing is, she needs to, if she makes the end, be able to show what she has done in the game to control votes, to survive, to be knowledgeable about the game. And if she can properly articulate all that, I find it hard to believe that she wouldn't be able to sway one person on the jury to vote her. I feel like everyone in the game has a chance of winning still. And I think she can easily get to the end because of that perception. And then she needs to be able to turn that around into a positive for her when she's pitching her case.
Aspen or Dave, any thoughts on Elizabeth getting this?
Yeah,
One of the harsher ones.
she's kind of in the same position I think Dee Dee is that she needs to win a competition or two down the stretch of the game. And like Mike says, she has to be able to articulate either her wins or moves that she's made. And I think that Elizabeth is probably the most capable of those that I consider to be GOATs to be able to articulate clearly why they should win.
Yeah.
Q got most likely to get a vote if she makes the end and they don't. Is this going to add to her ever-growing target days?
Yeah, I mean, she's still the biggest target in the game as it stands. And I mean, if I'm in the jury and she's in the final two, unless she's sitting next to Alex, I'm voting for Q, honestly.
Is there any way to get this ever-growing target smaller, Mike or Aspen?
I feel like she's doing a pretty good job. I mean, she didn't go home this week, so I mean, the target ain't that big. I mean, Dot and party of one, so like, yeah, I'm honestly, man, Q about to take this shit. If she get to the end, they gotta vote for her. She's played a perfect game. Her and Alex, like they said, that'll be a damn good final two. I wouldn't know who to vote
That's
for.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she can shrink the target at all, but I think she's clearly doing a pretty good job of weaponizing that target and making sure she has control and determines who goes home without the use of some switch of votes here and there. She's been pretty dang well in control, even with this massive target on her back. She seems to know how to navigate that.
Once again, it was Elizabeth, but also D that needs more to get the winning vote. Kind of already touched about it. Is there anything
100.
D can do, Dave, to get the winning vote?
That's 100% the case. She has to do more. After speaking with her in the interview, and what else? Like there's got to be more. She's got to have a competition win. Like I told her, if in this last vote off, her target was Elizabeth and she voted for her. If she was able to get everybody else to vote with her to get out her target, I see that as a big move. Recognizing your target and getting everybody to go along with you, that's a solid move, one you can vocalize in the end as to why you should win.
Yeah. I could see it like being a GOAT versus GOAT show off between Dee Dee and Elizabeth. And like honestly, if Dee Dee can take Elizabeth out, that shit would be a win for her. Like it would really like be able to put that shit on her resume and maybe, get her to the end because she is a likable person and she ain't really fucked nobody over like that on the jury. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is she's really likable, and the jury if she were to make the end. I mean, she's probably getting Patty's vote, other friends. If Q's on the jury at that point, probably gets Q's vote for all the and like at the end of the day, I think juries usually vote for who they like. And she's likable. She still has an idol, and she has opportunities to play that idol. And sometimes all you need is one big move late in the game, and that's enough to get people being like, "Holy shit! Look at what you did."
Yeah, I agree with that. I ain't gonna count her out. Yeah, I've been shitting on her a lot. And in the interview, I had to, like we had to squash some stuff. So I'm glad we got to air it out. And yeah, I'm gonna give Didi a chance now. I'm gonna stop being so rough, stop being so mean. But she better pull off a move. I'll tell you that much.
She also got that she doesn't know what she's doing. She says she's using it to her advantage, though, Mike. Is that working well to get to the end?
You got to weaponize the perception people have of you. If people perceive you as this big target, you need to use that target to your advantage to control. If people perceive you as not knowing what you're doing, you need to play that up, and you need to be like, "Oh, don't mind little old me. I'm not doing anything over here." And she seems to be doing a great job of it.
Try explaining that to the jury at the end. I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, then she can say I was playing it up, which she says she is now. I don't see why she wouldn't say that in front of a jury. So
yeah, man, that part, that's the part where I'm like, Didi, when you ask me why do I think that you're a GOAT, I just want this to replay as a GIF. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, this is why. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting. I also thought it was interesting to find out that she's never watched Survivor. So that probably got a lot to do with why she don't know what she's doing. But I mean, like Mike said, it's working, so I can't hate on it that much.
If she does make the end, the one thing she can bring up at the right time this time is that she did great at the other game.
That would be the perfect time to bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and she can say I said it day one in front of 5 or 6 people. So
that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
So Dot got the best social game, but let's talk about Dot. In winning this social game, he kind of blew up his social game. Anybody want to talk about how Dot played this?
Go on, Aspen.
You know. Oh my God, bro. I'm officially changing the hashtag in all the comments to Team Fuck Dot. Like, how the fuck are you gonna shit on your team like that, bro? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, he cut him ruthlessly. Like, he didn't give a fuck. He like, oh, you shouldn't have told me that. At that point, I'm like, oh my, what am I dealing with right here? Like, yeah, when he said you shouldn't have told me, I'm like, oh, you savage. You savage, Dot. I see. He a snake, bro. I thought it was Jake being a snake. I don't know if Jake the snake rubbed off on Dot, but now, like, oh man, as Patty would say, just a fucking grease ball, yo.
Yeah, he definitely won that challenge, but in the process, he lost Alex's vote in this round. And I think if he wouldn't have played that challenge the way he did, there was a chance that Jake doesn't go home because Alex doesn't flip the vote towards Jake.
And he cut everybody ruthlessly, though, even Jake. So, Mike, why do you think he eliminated everybody from the game? I guess he did need the safety, I guess.
He really wanted the safety. I guess he felt like, well, if I screw over everyone, no one can be mad at me, which on paper, great. People actually gonna be okay with that? Probably not. So that was a miscalculation on his part for sure.
Yeah, did he even need to win that challenge knowing that he had an idol in his back pocket? Like,
True.
I don't know if that's necessarily the challenge that you really want to win, just because of the fallout.
Yeah, he did a very bad job, and yeah, I think it's gonna come back and bite him in the ass, and obviously nobody is gonna want to fucking work with him. And so was it just me, or did Hassan like fucking give him the win? Like, I just feel like at the end, like, Hassan just fucking gave it to him. He handed it to Dot. Like,
You thought that too.
I mean, if did Hassan vocalize anything that he didn't need to win that challenge, and letting Dot win could put a target on his back? I don't remember hearing him say that. I wish I would have heard him say that, because that is a great move.
He
But
got
he didn't.
distracted, dude. I mean, the season finale of like whatever soap opera Nick likes so much was on the TV. He couldn't tear himself away. Didn't notice Dot had more X's or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know why he watched TV every time he's on camera. It's like he gotta watch his show when he on camera or something. I don't know.
It's flashbacks of Wesley on camera playing video games the entire chats.
Well, there is more than just Dot, her feelings towards Dot. There's Elizabeth's just upset after this challenge in general. She got some pretty shitty answers about her. Is she justified in being upset? She's also a Pisces, Dave, by the way.
You know what I found funny during this challenge is that I know it was the lighting from the room and the camera, but she straight looked like a demon during that challenge. Like her eyes were blacked out, and so maybe it really did get to her. I don't know.
I mean, obviously it did. I kind of felt bad. I'm like, damn, girl, I didn't know. Like I felt like she took it real personal. Like she took that shit to heart. She's like, y'all are attacking the person that I am. Like y'all coming for my fucking character. And I'm like, I mean, it's just a game, Like I don't know. I just felt like she just had to. Maybe it's the Pisces in her. I don't know.
It's pseudoscience.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think Elizabeth had the best strategy in this challenge until she showed up, and then it fell apart. I think if she had just been the one person to not come to the challenge, people are already eyeing her because she's not coming to every challenge, or no, she comes to every challenge, but she doesn't do well. But like, if she just didn't come, we wouldn't have got upset. I mean, no one would have got upset at her. I mean, that's sometimes, if you're gonna miss a challenge strategically, that's the challenge to miss. Touchy subjects, or you answer yourself for every question, good or bad. You just try not to make but then you might have to X or plus someone, and then you're gonna piss someone off. So just sit it out, man.
I don't know why she was so upset. They gave her a whole bunch of pluses to get her back in the game. Like, wasn't she out?
She was out, and then she showed up, and they felt bad, and they gave her a few pluses. And also, they didn't want to minus people once they realized they could get away with not minusing people. So,
Dee, I think it was Dee who said in her confessional or something that given the pluses did allow you to hear answers to all the questions. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of Dee, Dave, go ahead, Aspen.
No, I was gonna say Dee and Elizabeth had the hardest times with this, just feeling like hit. Like, yeah, they was feeling emotional.
Dee is upset with Elizabeth. She felt like Elizabeth was putting her for all the negative ones. Elizabeth felt like Hassan was putting her for all the negative ones. Is this creating beef from this game?
Is it what? Creating beef? I think it's going to make for an interesting round this time, because I've got to assume that Dee and Elizabeth are going to be vying for votes against each other. So that's not really something we've seen. We've seen the big hitters in the game going after each other. Let's see two of the GOATs throw some shots at each other.
So, Mike, there after the challenge, there's this also almost idea that could play the idol on Q to get out Alex. Could have worked if the plan wouldn't have changed so much by the time of the vote, but was Q just trying to get the idol played for her just to stay safe, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, can you blame her? You're within touching distance of the end, one round further. I can't, blame her for trying to get the idol played on her. I feel like Dee said in our interview, she made it sound like she didn't play it, not because she would never play it on someone else, but because she was pretty confident Jake was done. So I feel like Q might have called it off herself later, or maybe there were probably like contingencies, like if you feel good, I'll be okay. Q said multiple times she's okay. She's made her peace with the jury, but then she starts adding caveats like, well, I want to outlast this person. So you know.
So I think she called it off after she realized she had Alex and Elizabeth's vote.
Mhm.
Because if it did happen to go to a tie, the Didi vote wouldn't have gone against Q. So there was really no way that they could have gotten Didi or Q out.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little about that plan to split the vote. In theory, it could have been so many signals like a baseball game, but what are your thoughts on this plan in general? Jay kind of fucked himself, I think, Dazed.
I think they had to split the votes to have any chance. But I went and ran back the scenarios, and there was just no way that they could have gotten it. With I think they went about it the wrong way with who they targeted. I think they would have had Hassan, Dot, and Jake all would have had to vote the same, and then try to convince Alex and Elizabeth to vote one way. And I don't think it would have ever worked out. And their communication didn't work anyway. So, hey,
I said this in the live chat during the episode, Aspen, but how did Jake think he had Elizabeth's vote after he's been saying Elizabeth lied to him every single round since she lied to him?
Right? Why? Why the fuck would he think that? It's all that D1 athlete. He got hit one too many times on the football field. I don't know. He like lost that shit. Like, what? Why do you think she would vote with you? That's ridiculous. You are vocally coming after this girl. Like you've made it very clear that you don't fuck with Elizabeth. So I wouldn't vote with you.
Mike, why did Dot trust Alex after he admitted to being most likely to stab you in the back during the game?
Well, everyone seems to continue to trust Alex, you know? I mean, Q and Didi seem to think they had Alex because Q seemed to not want the idol played at a certain point, perhaps. And then Dot obviously had faith in Alex again. So it's just like nobody seems to ever call him on his crap. And good for him. He's playing great somehow. He's having the never trust me, and then everyone trusts him because he said that. It's pretty impressive.
In the end, Days, Jake is the one eliminated. Thoughts on your boy getting eliminated?
I mean, I still get to see him in Cam DeRosa, right? And still get to watch him a little bit.
We'll see if he ever shows up.
Yeah. I'm not disappointed. I mean, kind of, but I just after Meg left, and I just didn't see a real path for him to win unless he won out. So, kind of, I'm over it. I moved on.
Yeah, good. You should have. I tried to tell you it was coming. I knew it was gonna happen. Yeah, it was only right. I am honestly, I'm wondering who he would vote for. I wonder, is he gonna be a bitter juror since he is the one voted out? Yeah, but yeah, honestly, it was time.
And in the end, Dot is blindsided again, even though he shouldn't have been. Mike, what does Dot need to do?
Dot needs to grab a lifeboat in a life vest and leave the sinking cleaner ship. Everything that brought you there is now gone. I think it's a little late for him to do that. But I mean, if he's in this week trying again to sway Dunn to work with him and Hassan, I'm over it. I'm over it. Like, dude, jump ship, sell your soul to whoever you need to. Just be like, look, use me as a shield, use me as a vote, anything. Like, just get a little further. He still has an idol, right? You have your idol.
Yeah. That using that switch of vote was so detrimental to his game because it showed Alex that Dot doesn't trust him.
Yep.
Which is why, Alex eventually turned on him this week. I don't know if he can make that up. I don't think there's any way that he can show Alex or Elizabeth that he has any trust in them. thankfully he has that idol. I don't expect him to use it properly. He probably goes home with it in his pocket.
God.
Power up in my pocket.
I will. I will say, I think if Dot does manage to make the end, looking at the composition of the jury, he's probably very favored. But the struggle is, again, just like I said with Jake in the past, the struggle is getting there.
He's never seen Survivor either, right? So he's making do, he's making moves, but maybe some prior watching of Survivor would have helped him utilize these powers a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell he never seen Survivor because he calls his idol a power up. So I just,
What, a power
I
up?
just want to note that. Yeah,
Like Mario.
right. Dot is going home with a hashtag power up in his pocket. I can see it happening now. He not gonna know how to use it. He gonna pull a James. I thought he was gonna go home with both of them, but I mean, he might as well shouldn't have used that one because it was fucking pointless. Like Mike said, you should have used it a week earlier, bud. You're a week late. You showed up to the party fucking
Hindsight's
late.
2020, man. I mean, he was just confident. I mean, he had the world in his hand, and he realized he didn't.
That's what
Hashtag
happened.
mushroom power.
Any thoughts on the jury chat this week, Days? You mentioned the interview with Rayleigh might be bitter.
Oh yeah, first off, I don't believe that she smoked a bowl before that whole tribal, because I sure as hell don't act like that after I was smoking a bowl. Maybe a bowl of something else. I don't know, but
Oh my God.
she's definitely going to be the most bitter jury on the panel. Don't know where her vote will go, but it's not going to be for somebody that she severely dislikes. She definitely won't be voting for Q, that's for sure.
You think she'd be more bitter than Patty though? Because I mean, he's a whole bitter of himself.
No, that conversation between him and Meg in the first Cam DeRosa makes me believe that he needed a couple days to get over the bitterness of being voted out, but I think he'll vote more along the lines of a strategic game than he would of somebody who backstabbed him.
Mike or Aspen, any thoughts on the jury so far?
Oh man, it's an interesting dynamic. I don't know who is gonna. I can't wait to find out how. I'm excited that it's getting filmed because I want to know how people base their votes and like what's going through their head, because they get to watch some of the like tribal, and so that's like a big deal. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm very, very interested in how people will hold on to certain grudges, or like I want everybody to base their decision off of respect of the game, who played a better game. But some people won't, like even if Q make it to the end, and like Jay said, Rayleigh not gonna vote for Q, even though Q definitely deserves Rayleigh's vote.
Do y'all feel when you watch this last one that the jurors are still campaigning as to why they should win?
Yes, especially.
Did you get that?
Especially Patty. I mean, I feel like Patty's gonna. I mean, I really like Patty. Disclaimer, but I feel like Patty's gonna vote for whoever in the final tribal mentions Patty the most about how good Patty is. I feel like that's because at the end of the day, I do think people, they're gonna vote who they like, and they're gonna vote who makes them feel good. And I feel like there's a good few people who are gonna vote that way, whoever pumps them up the most, and then there's a few people who are going to vote because you're the most strategic, so you're gonna win.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that, because there was no way you were voting for me or Fan Guy in the final.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
you're
That's why I got to vote.
I think Mike would have voted for you over Fan Guy in the final, if I remember correctly. I was saying that once.
There's a good chance I would have in the moment. Depending on how Final Tribal Council went. I mean, Fan Guy really blew Final Tribal Council, in my opinion. Not that he was getting my vote and he lost it, but if he had played it the same way, I definitely probably would have voted Days, unless Days was somehow worse.
Well, lastly, we'll just go over the final 6 of what they need to do in this last episode. We talked about him a little bit already, Aspen, but what does Dot need to do in this next episode?
I think Mike touched on it a little bit, but he need to just jump off the ship without his life vest with bricks tied to his ankles.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I mean, like, what can he do? He fucked over. He basically just, said fuck you to everybody that wanted to work with him. So, like, what can he really do? Like, is it enough apologizing in the world? I mean, basically, honestly, he got to sell his soul.
Dazed.
Use the idol. This is the last time they can use it, right?
Just 2 more
Or they have
rounds.
2 more rounds. I don't see any way that Dot can get a vote to go his way. I'm pretty sure he's going to have to use the idol this round. So just make sure that either Alex or Q get eliminated this week so that he kind of has a number with Hassan. Like, that's his only option right now.
Mike, anything else to add on Dot?
I think Dot stands a really, really good chance if he makes the end, like I said. So his thing is getting there. He has an idol, which means there's 1 free pass. Now he needs to win a challenge or 2, and he needs to survive a vote or 2, depending on how he does in individual immunities. Because he's got this 1 idol, then he needs to win challenges or survive votes. Neither of those are looking extremely likely. So I say win an immunity, play the idol. Suddenly it's final 4, and anything can happen at that point. So
What about Elizabeth, Aspen?
Man, she need to stay away from those tree nuts and yeah, she need to take Didi out. Let's see her pull together a militia and take Didi down.
I agree. Vocalize who your target is, gather the votes to get them out, so that that's something you can articulate in the final.
Or even Hassan. She could take Hassan down too, I guess, since she got a major issue with him now.
Mike, any thoughts on what Elizabeth needs to do?
yeah, I mean, Elizabeth had a big win this week. That's why I put her up. I mean, Jake never liked Elizabeth, ever, for unforeseen reasons. She went for Meg once, and suddenly Jake just wants her gone every single time. And so she had a big win this week, and now she has a new person who has voted her and wants her gone in Didi. So she needs to make sure Didi doesn't get traction to get her out now. I mean, her main goal should just be to survive, really.
What about Didi, Mike? What does Didi need to do?
Didi also has an idol. I think she needs to be very tuned in because of that. And if Dot ends up playing his idol and Dot is the target, she needs to make the informed decision of whether to idol herself or not, or even someone else if she wants to make a really big move. I mean, if she has an idol and Dot plays it and has a majority of the votes, and she successfully reads that he's trying to get out like Q and cancels like all the vote, that's a game-winning move right there. I mean,
oh yeah.
she needs to use this idol properly, and if she uses this idol properly, she's a very good contender in my opinion.
Aspen.
Honestly, that would fucking change the game for me if she did some shit like that. Like, yeah, if she could counter out that idol with her idol and use that shit perfectly, she'll be in a good spot. Maybe even like they said, maybe win a challenge. Shit, put another little thing on your resume, and then boom, you're in top 4.
Didi needs to, again, rally the votes to get out her target. I think, like this last round, Elizabeth was her target. If she would have got Q and Alex or somebody else to vote with her and Elizabeth went home, I would have said, that's a good move. That's something you can say at the end. And I think she needs to, that's the one move that I need to see her make, unless she uses the idol to do what y'all just said. I think that's what she needs to do to get to the end and win.
And what about Hassan?
Who? That's gonna be my answer for the rest of the game.
Yeah, he need to turn the TV off and yeah, I think I said it looked like he had like a notebook at one point in time, but I know he ain't taking notes because ain't no way. Unless he just playing all of us, that could be the case. So
Is what does Hassan need to do? You said who, but he got most likely to win in the game.
I mean, he has to get to the end with either Didi or Elizabeth, right? Like that's the only way that I could see him winning. And then I'm not even sure he wins over Didi because she is so likable. And against Elizabeth, she can articulate better than he can as to why she should win. So I don't see a route for him. You know, he's playing for second place right now.
Like,
He just needs to not get targeted. I feel like it's all out of his hands now. It's like he needs to make the end and hope that the other people, hope that his former tribe mates and whoever else is on the jury votes him simply because he's there. I mean, it's hard. We don't see a lot from Hassan. I mean, he just needs to make the end and then hope the jury's in his favor.
Mike, what does Alex need to do this round?
Alex probably could use, and I say he could use an immunity wing because I keep expecting the other shoe to drop on him, or like he's doing well for himself. He needs to keep working alongside Q is another big target. I mean, he needs shields in the game, and Dot continues to trust him. Q seems to have an uneasy partnership with him. When you've got these people who are like big power players who have a good chance of winning the game and they trust you, you need to keep that steady piece and you'll be okay.
Days, will Dot still trust him?
No. And I don't think Alex and Dot are going to work together anymore. I think Alex's move this week is to get out Didi so that he leaves Q as the bigger target, but also divides those two because they are a two-person voting block at this point. He has a semi-alliance with Elizabeth. Just keep doing what you're doing. How other people have not compared notes on him, I don't know, but I think he has the easiest path to victory at this point. Just keep doing what you're doing and you're golden.
Aspen.
yeah, he is golden. It's the golden boy. He in a good space right now. Like, I think he don't need to work with Dot. I think it's a sinking ship, and I mean Dot is trying to get him out. So I think his next move is honestly to get Dot out, and I think that would be a big move to solidify his gameplay.
What does Q need to do this round, Aspen?
Oh, survive and win. Honestly, win. I mean, she has to win immunity or either just be scrambling again, like she might could get it seems like her and Elizabeth are maybe, on the same page when it comes to voting, and then her and Didi are on the same page. So that's at least like a little 3-person, even though Didi and Elizabeth don't want to work together. That would have been a perfect 3-person alliance, but I don't know. Q seems to be able to manage both of them in their own separate friendships, which is good. So Q just got to keep on kind of just laying under the radar, honestly.
Days.
First off, she could win this week, the challenge, and secure her safety. But I don't think I think she could survive without doing that. I think she has to get the target on Alex because I think that's her biggest competition in this game. But I'm not sure Alex is the right move to make yet. You might want to go after Hassan so that you can break him and Dot apart because you still have Didi and Elizabeth. So that's 3 against Alex. So she could go either way, but I think Hassan's the best move for her to make this week. But she could use the competition win just so she's in a power position to have conversations and make that move.
Mike, Q only had one vote against her this round. Can she pull it off again?
Man, I mean, she really is doing very well, and I think she needs to keep doing what she's doing, which is painting targets on other people that are somehow magnified to be bigger than hers. And I think she is underestimating her own social game. I mean, we all saw how she worked Dee Dee to like even consider the fact of playing the idol on her. And I think she's underrating that aspect of her game. I mean, being upfront with people is its own form of social game. You know, she tells Elizabeth, "Look, are we on the same page?" And Elizabeth is like, "Yes." And now they're working together. I mean, it works out. She needs to keep Elizabeth close. She needs to keep Dee Dee close. That's her path.
Well, any last predictions for episode 10? Only 2 episodes left. The challenge is the good old shirt over your face, and you gotta take it off before the time is up.
Wow.
Shit. I don't know. I don't think this competition is necessarily the be all that, you know, do you have to win it? I mean, it would help, but I think right now it's more about the relationships and are you in the voting majority? So a lot of ways it could go. I don't really have a prediction on who wins it or who goes home this week. It could go so many different ways.
Mike or Aspen, any predictions?
I think Alex might take this one, actually. I think he, for some reason, strikes me as having like probably like a good sense of time. And so I think that Alex, I want Q to win. I think Q needs to win it. But who goes home? I don't know. I'm kind of like with days with this one, like it's so many different options. Everybody was all over the place. I expected people to vote this. Why the fuck did Dee Dee not vote with everybody else and just vote Jake out and just like be with them, you know? Like, I don't know. That was a weird move to me. So like everybody all over the place is what I got from that.
Yeah, I feel like anyone is fair game this week. I don't see any one person to go, oh, they're safe. Like everyone has a reason to be targeted and then a reason to not be targeted. As far as the challenge, do we have any musicians on the cast? You know, that internal
Alex.
Does he play instruments? If he plays instruments, then he's my
He's a damn good singer and musician.
Okay. Then he's definitely my pick to win the challenge just because you know you get that internal rhythm going. That's what you need for something like this.
That's all I have. Any last thoughts on this episode or the next?
No, another great episode for strategy, and I think this next episode should be even more packed with strategy.
Oh yeah, it's getting deep. I mean, it's about to get down to it. You said it's 2 more episodes left. Wow. So yeah, so this is the semi-finale. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I thought. One last thing. I thought the interview was with Dee Dee because Dee Dee got voted off, and then to not see Dee Dee get voted off and see it was Jake, it was like the most epic thing. It just kind of made my night.
Yeah, I was shocked too because I'm doing the math in my head as the votes roll in, and I go Hassan.Jake are 3 votes. Oh my God, Dee Dee just got voted out, and then the last vote's Jake, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Dee Dee requested to be the interview, so she wanted to ask questions to y'all.
She had some beef to cook.
Yeah. Oh, she did. I'm glad I made it. I was a little bit late, but I'm glad I made it because she was fucking serving that shit up. Days was in a hot seat when I got in. I'm like,
I know, shit.
All right, I want to thank you guys as always. I'll see y'all next week.